I was the only one left on the planet after the Holocaust, eh? The Earth had been like devastated by nuclear war. There wasn't much to do. All the bowling alleys had been wrecked. So as I spent most of my time looking for beer. One day, I was out looking for a nice place to build a city for my children when I spotted a mutant in the Forbidden Zone. Fleshy-headed mutant, are you friendly?
No way, eh? Radiation has made me an enemy of civilization. Oh, take off, you hoser!
Welcome to Glowburn, a podcast dedicated to the Mutant Crawl Classics role-playing game.
This is a test. This is only a test.
Welcome to Glowburn, a podcast about the Mutant Crawl Classics role-playing game and old-school post-apocalyptic adventuring. I'm Judge Forrest.
I'm Judge Mark.
And I'm Judge James.
And our guest on tonight's show is Judge Jonathan Snodgrass. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you.
On tonight's episode, we'll be talking to Jonathan about his MCC and DCC-compatible space-based Star Crawl, as well as Vehicle Mayhem. But first, let's go down to the shelter.
Down in the shelter.
Welcome to our cozy little shelter down here. While we're down here in the shelter, this is where we're going to highlight MCC and DCC gaming. What we're running, what we're playing, what we're writing, and reviewing stuff, and talking to our special guest judge, Mr. Jonathan Snodgrass. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
It is so super cool to have someone that I've played with, I guess I don't say extensively, but a lot from Pittsburgh, especially on this show, especially since it's you. So welcome.
Well, thank you. I always say that Pittsburgh is one of the best places to play DCC in the country. So it's always good to see folks from the Pittsburgh scene, doing these kind of podcasts and getting out there in the community. So yeah, it's an honor to be here.
I think since we had Michael Bolam on, also from Pittsburgh, I think it's safe to say that Pittsburgh has taken over Mutant Crawl Classics.
Seems like it.
So why don't you tell us about yourself here? So how did you find RPGs in general? Let's stretch back once upon a time, your first RPG experience. What were you doing?
Yeah, so I think it started like a lot of others around my age, our generation. In like 84 or 85, one of the neighbor kids got for Christmas the old Menser red box of D&D, which I always thought, especially looking back, was always kind of funny because his mother was the one who kept us from being allowed to go see Gremlins and stuff like that in theaters. But she was completely fine with this Satan game. So it was, one of those kind of things. But we really messed with it and tried to figure it out. And I mean, at the time we were 9, 10, we didn't know head from tails with it. And over the years, though, I continued to be fascinated with this. And I'd run into other kids, older brothers, stuff like that, kids in like Boy Scouts, these kind of things, who had D&D, who would show me a little bit, like I'd play a game here and there. There was a kid that I played Battletech with for a while.
Oh yeah.
I love Battletech.
Yeah. And finally, probably around like 1990, I got into a regular group. There was a kid that I knew from high school, and he had a group, brought me into it, and that really started off. From there, since that time, I've pretty steadily had a regular weekly gaming group outside of here and there, like vacations, stuff like that. I've mostly gamed every week for the last, 28 years, something like that. Whoa. Over that time, it was always first and second edition D&D. Those were our cores with a lot of Marvel superheroes. We were really, really big on the old TSR Marvel game back then, being real big comic fans. That was one of the core ones. And then jumping into, over the years, of course, Call of Cthulhu, the old James Bond game, Deadlands. I know you're a fan of that, James.
Yes.
Hackmaster, jumping into that, Gamma World, Vampire, Cyberpunk. If we found something interesting, we'd get it on the table.
So the big Hackmaster, right? Like the 4th edition book, like the big chunky one?
I tried a little bit with that, mostly the basic Hackmaster, like that re-release. Like we played some of it when there was the one you're talking about that was the reprint. Is that the one you mean? The one that was the reprint?
No, the first one was giant. It was a reprint of like AD&D first edition, and it was nigh unplayable.
Yeah, but you know what? It was, I liked it. It was good. It had, just because having a lot of that stuff reprinted. And the big thing I got from it was they reskinned and re-updated a lot of the old adventures. So if you're running a D&D campaign, those Hackmaster adventures from that run are really, really playable.
Little Keep on the Borderlands, I'd say I enjoy that more than the original Keep on the Borderlands. There's a lot more meat, but also that's a game where it takes 90 minutes to 2 hours to make a character, and you can die in a bar fight.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Well, the basic Hackmaster that they did after that for their new edition, the newest edition of Hackmaster, is really, really detailed, and it's a little bit too much for my tastes. But if you get a hold, and I think they've got like a $5 PDF or something, but if that basic Hackmaster has a lot of really, really good stuff in it. It's got the way they do the segments and attack rates for the initiative is really, really cool. They've got an active defense instead of just a static AC. It's got a lot of really cool stuff in it, but it's, with the newest edition in the big books, it gets kind of weighty.
So how'd you find DCC?
So our friend Mike Bolam, he brought it in. He's a member of my regular group. I should say I'm a part of his regular group. I joined that group in about 2011, and in about 2013, Mike brought in DCC. He's like, hey, this is this cool new game. I want to try it out. And from there, it's really become a regular part of our gaming. Right now, I'm on hiatus from our regular DCC campaign that we run every other week, and on off weeks we do either Labyrinth Lord or something else that somebody wants to run.
What kind of gaming are you doing right now? Like, what have you been playing recently?
So right now we are continuing. We've got a Labyrinth Lord campaign that we do. We just got through. I did a long-time dream of mine had been to run a single group through all of the classic Gary Gygax modules. So we took them through the Village of Hamlet, through the Temple of Elemental Evil. That same group ended up going through the Slave Lord series, the Against the Giants, and we just finished out the Underdark and the Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
Holy crap.
Same party through the whole thing?
Well, mostly the same.
Wow, that's incredible.
I'm kind of notorious for my high lethality rate for Labyrinth Lord. One of the things I did when we started the campaign was I started very, very detailed, keeping track of all the deaths and all the character advancements and all the different characters that came in through the campaign. And I calculated out, and every year, I'm about to do it again for this year, I do an annual report where I do a PowerPoint of all the characters that have died over the years.
Like an in memoriam.
Yeah. And I haven't done the calculations, but I think last year our lethality rate was something like 89% for the campaign.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Wow.
It's nuts. I was, for a long time, for about 2 years, my kill rate was 1 to 1.5 characters per session. It was brutal, because we're playing it pretty hardcore Labyrinth Lord old rules. You hit 0, you're dead. That's it. No, admittedly, once a character hits like 5th to 7th level in that range, people start actually putting the money aside to raise them, getting them brought back. But it's there's been a hell of a lot of death. We're doing right now, because we're completely out of thieves. Our last thief got killed, and so I've been running a separate, kind of like a farm league game. We're bringing up some new first level characters, and I gave everybody 2 characters, so there were 12 total characters we started off with, and I killed 6 of them off the last session. So it's it's kind of a killer game.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I can hear Forrest getting excited over there with all the old school stuff here.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
But we're running that, and the other game we're running right now is Mike Bolam's running a fantastic worldwide wrestling game, which I usually am pretty skeptical of those kind of, diceless hippie kind of games. But this one's legit fun. It's a storytelling game where you play as pro wrestlers and put together a show, and it's actually a hell of a lot of fun. We've been having a really, really good time with that.
Are you a huge wrestling fan? I know Mike is a huge wrestling fan.
I'm not on the par of Mike. I haven't watched wrestling regularly in probably 20 years, but I remember enough, and a lot of it's coming back to me. And my character is kind of like an Andre the Giant character that is the Lord Humongous, 2 words, Humongous. And he just recently got manager, the Wild Canuck, who is a kind of soft-spoken Canadian that does all the talking for him. So it's a good time.
Is he really, really nice?
Yeah, the Wild Canuck is not quite too wild. He's pretty laid back, doing his terrible Canadian accent. But, you got to do what you got to do.
He's wild in that he listens to Rush occasionally.
Yeah. He doesn't have Entrix music yet, but it'll definitely be Rush, either Fly By Night or the Great Wide Open, or what was it? The song from Strange Brew.
Oh yeah,
Take Off. The McKenzie Brothers. Yeah, Take Off. There we go.
Take Off, you hoser.
Nice. So what's everyone else playing? Mark, what are you playing? What's your gaming like right now?
I haven't done very much gaming at all recently.
What are you talking about?
Liar.
That is a lie.
I just saw you gaming.
That is a lie. So let's see here. So the week after we did the last episode, which I think was that the Michael Bolam episode? Good God, It's been so long. I ran Michael Curtis's Evil of the Ancients for the MCC monthly game. And yeah, I got 1 PC shy of a TPK, and most of the kills I can't even take credit for. I killed 2. Like, my GMing killed 2 PCs, and the players killed 6 more.
So PvP was in play, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. I friggin' love this adventure. I'm going to bring it as an after-hours game for Gary Con, and I already have at least a couple of people who've said they're interested. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We actually ran a second session. We had one last Wednesday, which it was the start of MCC Unchained. That's what I've decided to call it, because I have taken the training wheels off. I've taken the guardrails, the speed, limiter, basically
the bumpers, the bowling bumpers.
The bumper, I mean, every safety restraint that you can imagine has been removed. This is now just like a rocket with some players strapped to it. Because I have said, because after the bloodbath that was Evil of the Ancients, we have a lot of players who are down PCs. And I said, all right, it's time. Feel free to make characters however you want using, any of the DCC compatible stuff. So we've got, DCC, MCC, Lankmar, Umerica, Starcrawl, any of the zines, like, knock yourself out. We only had 3 players show up for that session, which I scratched my head at because I have 8 players theoretically in this campaign.
I think it's because I actually showed up, other people didn't.
There might be something to that.
I can't be there if Forrest shows up, all right? I'm just telling you now. Forrest shows up. We can't be in the same place at once outside of Glowburn.
There'll be player versus player really quick.
Well, we did end up with one character, or one player rather, who needed a new character. So we now have an American survival guide cyborg who was he's actually an ancient one. He was frozen and thawed out by this other tribe of survivors during Terra A.D. He doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know how long he's been frozen. And unfortunately, his brain maybe got a little bit scrambled in the process. So that's been working out pretty well so far. We'll see how the next session goes. That's coming up in January. Let's see here. There was your Purple Planet game, Jim, which I can say was the first game I've ever used a flying skiff to run people down with. That was a new thing I can put on my, things I've done in RPGs.
Off your bucket list.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fun. We've been kind of back into hex crawl mode, and I don't know if us going to the big city, such as it is this kickoff of another module, or if we're still in hex crawl mode.
I ain't saying.
But I'm enjoying it. My character's probably done with the Purple Planet, but I am not. I'm sure Floyd Pink probably wants to go home at this point, but he's gonna have to wait. And then last weekend was PAX Unplugged. My opinions are pretty mixed. I went down with the goal of getting some gaming in as a player. I needed a vacation from my job, and I ended up playing very little and GMing two off-books games that I hadn't intended to. But, that happens. I ran Assault on the Sky High Tower twice for some overrunnage on other tables. Once I ran with level 1 characters, and the other I ran with a bunch of zeros.
So was that just a function of the con itself and the way it was organized?
Organized, you mean lack thereof.
Disorganized, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Their game sign-up was paper-based.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's no electronic registration at all for games?
Not that I could tell.
Well,
that's awesome.
So 4 days before the convention, I found out of the blue, actually from Jody Black, who's Pinnacle Entertainment. They do Savage Worlds. Because I'm one of the mods over on the Savage Worlds Facebook page. She's like, oh, we found this way you can register events. I had no idea it even existed. So you could register events via electronic means, but you couldn't sign up for them electronically.
Weird.
And I actually stood in line with Jim's daughters on Saturday morning for probably an hour and 15 minutes before we finally got to the paper. And the papers were, at that point, there was not a lot of Prime games left anyway. In fact, there wasn't really anything. But worse, all you got was, at best, a title, and then the RPG system, and then just what time it was being played, and then a list of slots that you can set up for. There was no blurb saying what the game was.
Wow.
Just to be clear, because this sounds nuts, you had to stand in line and then go up to basically just sheets of paper where they had all the lists.
Correct.
You signed in on those sheets?
In theory, yes.
Wow.
And mind you, we were not even in the room yet when we had been in the line for a good 45 minutes.
Man, that's it. I'm running a convention at my house, in my garage.
Yeah.
What do I need? Paper. We're set.
Yeah. This is in Pennsylvania. Were the Amish running this one?
This is actually, not only is it in Pennsylvania, I think attendance-wise, PAX Unplugged may end up being either the third or even the second. It might be bigger than Origins. The con is massive.
Seriously?
There was a lot of people.
30,000 people or something like that. It's huge. It is huge.
How could you possibly run that on paper?
Is this the kind of con that gaming is kind of a secondary consideration, or is gaming the focus?
I think board gaming is the focus.
I think that they thought that board gaming was the focus.
Yes.
I don't think they realized that RPGs were going to be as big as they are. I hope they learn, and I hope that they implement something in the future that is better than paper, but we shall see.
Well, either that or they just kick all their RPG people out.
Yeah. I don't know what they're
easy solution.
They should do carbon paper.
Oh, Jesus.
At least.
It was not all bad. I did get to GM a couple of good games, and I saw some people, Jim and some other folks that I know, and it wasn't a bad time. It was just, wow, talk about disorganized. I did manage. Well, not manage. It was planned. I did finally complete the MCC collection, so I now have one of every cover.
Nice.
Which, in hindsight, I look at that and I go, why did I do that? I don't need all of these different versions. But that didn't stop me.
That's why it's called an addiction, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings me to my second addiction, which is I bought more dice.
Wow.
man.
Wow. You were just complaining about how many dice you had the other day we were doing MCC.
It may have sounded like a complaint, but it really was more like a humble brag.
Yeah, I'm going to back you up on this. You can't have too many dice.
Yeah. I mean, I literally have 2 drawers, like bureau drawers full of dice, okay?
Wow.
You just gotta wrap your head around that one.
All right, maybe you can have too many dice.
Hey, if there's ever a post-apocalypse and I need to build an air cannon, I have plenty of ammo. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you'll get lucky after the apocalypse, and it'll be like the bottle caps in Fallout. It'll be dice.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
And the more sides, the more valuable.
Yeah.
You'll be a dice billionaire.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been going through at the moment, gaming wise. Why don't we go over to the other guy who went to PAX, Jim?
All right, PAX Unplugged. I gotta say this. I was very mixed at first also, especially in day one of the con, for all the reasons that Mark had mentioned. I have one like major upside though. I live in Philadelphia now. So like for me, this is local. Mm-hmm. I think PAX Unplugged is a convention that doesn't know what it is yet. I think that it's a convention where it's trying to feel itself out and to see what's there, what's not. There was always board gaming going on, a ton of it. So many new games being played. The people that were there to listen to the Acquisitions Inc. people talk were huge into that. I haven't listened to the Acquisitions Inc. stuff since the D&D 4E podcast, like circa 2009. So I'm not really into all that, but more power to them. If anything, it's another convention and it takes some of the stress off of like the Gen Con experience. So for me, I'm a GM first. I'm not the best player for multiple reasons. One is I get bored easily. And 2 is I kind of need to be talking like all the time. So I love to GM. So if you're a GM, it's like definitely a feast there. There's tons and tons of players. It was the opposite of Save Against Fear, where it had 2 games unfilled. Although there was a game I ran where the friggin' people for Pugmire were near me. And I was like, you know what? It's going to throw down. So I really enjoyed the convention. Mark was there. My family was there. I met a ton of new Philly gamers, and we're kind of like coordinating now. I think next year I'm going to go with a big, large crew with like schedules to know who's running what. And I think we'll be more on point.
Gonna get some gang colors, Jim?
Yes. So I hit everything. So like I played and ran all my favorite games. In the mornings, I was running demos of Numenera and No Thank You Evil from Monty Cook Games. And in the afternoons, evenings, I was running Mutant Crawl Classics and Savage Worlds. And it was pretty great. For Mutant Crawl Classics, I ran Children of the Fallen Sun on Friday. I set the game on the Warden. So it was kind of cool because the ship that crashes in that game I had crash through a layer of the Warden and create a hole in the side of the ship that the players were kind of contending with as well while they were dealing with the AI on board the vessel. That game was one of our GMing challenges. I didn't realize that you didn't have to assemble your own players. So I had like 7 players and 4 more showed up that signed up for the event. So fortunately, that's one of the events that Mark ran because Mark took some of the players and helped out. My kids got to play with Judge Brendan LaSalle, and that was pretty awesome. Judge Evie on Sunday spent hours helping Brett Brooks run the booth for Goodman Games. So she was in the booth helping with sales, watching, and Brett had to run off for bio breaks. So she was really excited. She's excited to go back next year. And just lots of planning for next year. As to non-convention gaming, Purple Planet, Mark ran people down with a skiff. I mean, I guess that would be the adventure title, I guess. Mark stole that from me. What happened was the party came across a giant battle. And it's been a little over a year we've been playing that aspect of that campaign. And 2.5 years into this campaign in general, which is crazy. Wow. That campaign's 3 years old, like in February or March.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. We still have some people with original PCs, too.
Wow.
Like two, right?
Is it 2 or is it 3?
Andy has one, maybe?
So, we got Soph, we got Nicodemus, and don't we have one more?
Craig Watson, the wizard.
Yeah, there you go.
My Westchester PA game group is still going pretty strong. Still meeting monthly. We are starting Moon Slaves of the Cannibal Kingdom. We were going to do it last time, but we ended up running in at 5 points. So that's coming up. And then I've got a bi-weekly East Texas University game now cooking for Savage Worlds. So that's my gaming. Judge Forrest, let's hear about your stuff.
Before I go in, I have to ask the question. Did you say Sawed Off, Mark? Is that one of the names of the characters?
No,
Soph.
Oh, okay, all right. I was going to ask if you meant like sawed off shotgun or sawed off like you're being insulted by a British person.
No.
Okay.
No. Andy has played my campaign of mine for a game called The Strange, and there's an NPC in The Strange called Father Foss, Foss, who is an evil, like dark, evil cleric, you know? And Andy's cleric is Father Foss backwards, which is Soph Retaf.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes much more sense. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. It makes a ton of sense.
For additional context, Andy likes to name his characters as difficult as possible for Jim to pronounce and write up.
It's to write. He makes it hard to write. So when I'm typing out like Glycourg, Glycourg.
I thought there was a Q in there.
Oh, Quorg. Yeah, he's...
Wow.
You know, he'll like throw like 19 consonants in there with like a single vowel and say it's 3 syllables. It's essentially German.
Wow. So I would say Estonian or something.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I wasn't at PAX, obviously, but I was at Gamehole Con.
Lucky.
And, it was so fun. Where do I begin? I'll try to make it fast. So I played MCC with Julian as the judge. He did this thing called the Shunned House, which is basically if you took Disney's Beauty and the Beast and a bunch of robots and threw it in a haunted house, that's what you would have. It was horrifying. But I learned he had this, there's basically this ghost, I guess, of a little girl that's gone into the house. And she'll tell you things. And of course, you know, when a judge tells you things, you always do the opposite because you just can't trust the judge. But actually, she was actually trying to help, but kind of in her own innocent, like weird little way, like she didn't understand things fully. So it was really creepy and really a lot of fun. Had a great time with that. Did Crawling Under a Broken Moon with Reed, which was essentially Mad Max. That was just a pickup game that we had out in the hall, and we had 3 people playing who had never played DCC before, which was kind of fun. Yeah, it was great. I love when that happens. I ran Killer Giants one last time, and it became, you know, as usual, the mayhem that we expect. Mark, you'll be happy to know that somebody played the mutant cow, the crystal cow again.
Nice.
Yes. That was Julian.
Oh, geez.
So you can imagine how that ended. It wasn't pretty.
Poorly.
But it was fun. It was fun. Give a mutant cow a bunch of hallucinogenic mushrooms and a revolver and see what happens.
A mutant rock cow, right? Wasn't he made out of rock?
Yes. Yeah, crystal skin. Yes. He's become one of my favorite characters. I almost thought about doing him for the Mutagenesis this time around.
Oh, that'd
like
be
starting a rogues gallery, because every time I've had that pre-gen and somebody's played it, it's been crazy. I don't know. There's something about, I think maybe it's the mushrooms. I don't know. Maybe it's just the players who play him. I don't know. But every time there's something bonkers happens with that cow. His name was Monsieur Bovary this time, which I thought was very, very appropriate. I also ran an off-books Call of Cthulhu game based on David Lynch's short film Rabbits. You guys ever seen that?
Nope.
No.
Okay. It's 45 minutes of surreal depression about rabbits. But it's really cool, and it made for a really fun scenario. I ran that for the Minneapolis crew mostly, the Minneapolis DCC crew, and Doug Kovacs. So, yeah, you can imagine. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'll be developing that into something real, something written this next year, I think. Played a couple of great Call of Cthulhu games with the U2 Can Cthulhu group. It's this group out of Indiana who, that's all they do, is they run these very elaborate, very prop-intensive Call of Cthulhu games. If you really want to get like a really deep experience, Call of Cthulhu, that's the place to do it. They're awesome. I played 2 games I've never played before. We played RuneQuest in honor of, now I'm forgetting his name, the guy who wrote it, who passed away just recently.
Steve Perrin?
Doesn't sound right. This is embarrassing.
I don't remember. I don't know the names. I don't know why that name came from. I'm just like thinking of names.
The guy who wrote RuneQuest passed away just recently.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, yeah, you look it up while I keep talking. And so we played RuneQuest. I played it for the first time. I wanted to play it since I was a kid. I mean, I lived in England, for crying out loud. And that was like...
Yeah, it was Steve Perrin and Greg Stafford.
It was Greg Stafford who had passed away.
Okay.
So we ran... Our RuneQuest was run. I wasn't running it. I was a player kind of in honor of Greg Stafford's passing. And so anyway, it was really a lot of fun. That was like a late night. We actually got kicked out. We got kicked out because we were there so late. We had like the security guards like, guys, you got to get out of here.
At PAX, that's 11 o'clock.
So this was, I think we were past midnight by this point. Anyway, so we played that. It was a lot of fun. And then I played, for the first time I've ever played, the Star Frontiers. Do you remember the Star Frontiers RPG?
Nope.
Yeah.
I knew it existed.
Okay, all right. Well, there's a Star Frontiers role-playing game. And they had a miniatures game that went with it called Nighthawks. And so I played Nighthawks for the first time. It's this big space combat thing. And this guy had this huge cloth hex board with the big, spaceship models and stuff. And it was a blast. Honestly, after that, I'm going to try to get into a miniatures game every con because, I don't want to splurge all the money to do it all myself, but I would love to pay somebody to take me through some more miniatures gaming. That was really awesome, and I was really surprised by that because I was expecting to have an okay time, but it was really, really fun.
Is it like a miniature skirmish game, or is it just like Star Frontiers using miniatures?
It's space combat, so it's starship combat on a hexed map of space, basically.
Like Aerotech a little bit.
Yeah, similar to Aerotech, yeah. Yeah, that kind of idea.
I think I saw you post some pictures about that.
I did. I posted some pictures out there on Twitterland. So
hey, Twitter or G? Yeah, Twitter.
I think it was mostly on Twitter because I was in the middle of it. I didn't want to take too long to post on G+. So anyway, they're out there. Let's see. America Natural. Actually, I am going to be calling Mr. Sanfilippo tomorrow night and talking to him. I have one section sewn up and mostly done. Needs a little editing. And then I have another full section to do next. And then after that, I think we're going to start talking, getting the Kickstarter going and getting that out into the public. Oh, and I've seen the artwork too for the cover. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. It's just, man, it's gorgeous. I'll just leave it at that for now. You'll see it someday, I'm sure. Also played with some friends here in town, a game called Shadows of Brimstone, which Jim, I'm guessing you'd probably like this. It's kind of like halfway between a board game and an RPG. But it's all Weird West stuff. That was quite fun, I thought. I'm not a huge board gamer, but this one was kind of cool because it had elements of an RPG. You can carry your characters on to the next adventure and you can run a campaign, basically.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and they gain and lose stuff as you go along and whatnot. So you have a little bit more vested interest than in your regular board game, where you're just going to dump these guys at the end. So that was fun. And then my... AD&D second edition group, we're wrapping up. I discovered by accident the other day that we're actually, the DM is running us through the Return to the Tomb of Horrors.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if you thought the Tomb of Horrors was bad, the Return is much worse. We're running pretty high level characters now. My thief he's 15th level. Actually, he's the highest level character I've ever run from first all the way up through. And I am terrified every time we open a door, every time we turn a corner. It's just terrifying. So kudos to the people who wrote that because, man, it's got me shaking. But after that, the co-DM and I haven't DM'd for a little while, but the co-DM and I were discussing things after we were done scaring ourselves silly. And the next stop for this group, anyway, is going to be Athos. Yes. So I have never... I think I rolled up a Dark Sun character once a long time ago.
What? That's it?
And I might have read a book. I've never been steeped in it, so this is my chance.
I've read every novel. I've read everything. I've played in 4, 5, 6 campaigns through Dark Sun.
I will have to ask your advice on a lot of things.
Be a halfling and eat people.
Okay, I can do that. You can totally do that.
Yeah, I gotta say that this may or may not be sci-fi. I mean, I know some of the deep history of Dark Sun, and it's sort of sci-fi. But because this is totally post-apocalyptic, I think this is going to be really cool to hear about on the during this part of the podcast every month.
I've been listening to another podcast, Bone, Stone, and Obsidian, something like that, and it's about the Dark Sun. And they characterized it as post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm excited. I've wanted to delve into this for years. I just never did, never had the chance, never had the time. So now I've got a group that I'm very comfortable with, and I know these guys from way back, and we're going to jump in and try it.
Excellent.
There's no feeling I've ever had of opening up a game and feeling whisked away like when I opened up that first the Dark Sun box set. Like nothing has ever been the same. It's like the ultimate, like, I don't know, like just nothing's like that. Even DCC, as much as I had that, okay, this is like getting the old red box that I had, nothing was like Dark Sun. It was so amazing.
Yeah, the setting is so far from the sort of bland stock standard fantasy settings that, you know, we've been inundated with at this point.
The art.
Oh, the art's incredible.
Brahms' art is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Von Dieter
oh my
the video game by the Shattered Lands, I was playing that at the same exact time, that old SSI game. Man.
Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm new to this. I'm new to this territory.
Jonathan, did you?
No, I was going to say I never had an opportunity to play Dark Sun. I had some of the stuff way back when, the video game when it was out, but the art was just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was at that time too, when you had a lot of the second edition art was really starting to kind of blend together, you know, and become this kind of homogenized fantasy thing. Dark Sun just stood out so much as this crazy unique place. Yeah, I like I said, never got an opportunity to play a table game, but wow, the look of it always was just so appealing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what I always like to. I don't like to play campaigns, you know, prefab campaigns to the letter necessarily. I like to add a couple things here and there. So I'll be curious to see where I can maybe insert some MCC type elements in there, if possible. We'll see. We'll see how it looks. But anyway, I'm very excited to try this. I just have a lot of learning to do. So I'm listening to podcasts, I'm reading, and trying to get myself geared up for this.
Are you running it?
I will be running it, yes. None of us have played, so.
Read the Prism Pentad, the whole thing, all 5 books.
Oh, sure. Okay. I'll just...
No, I'm serious. Those are the novels that are written to go alongside the campaign. They're a quick and easy read.
Okay. Prism Pentad.
I mean, if I can read them, they're a quick and easy read. Okay.
Noted. The Prism, Prison or Prism?
Prism by Troy Denning. The Prism Pentad by Troy Denning. It's 5 books.
Okay. All right.
It's Pentad.
Okay, cool.
And I'm like 90% certain that a whole Glowburn episode was essentially devoted to this. I talked you into letting me do it. So it was one of our first ones that we did. Remember?
That was a long time ago.
It was like a second or third Glowburn. It was like I kind of said, okay, I'll come on the show, and I'd love to be a co-host, but I have like one condition: I want to do a Dark Sun episode.
It was pre-me.
I'm excited to be there. It does. I mean, yeah. I mean, to Jonathan's point, that art just engulfs my brain, which is a good thing. It's good for inspiration. But anyway, from what I've heard so far and read, it sounds like a lot of fun.
You're gonna love it.
Yep, lots of grim people dying and being mummified in the desert. Nothing wrong with that.
And cannibalistic halflings.
But yeah, what's not to like?
Jerky elves. Oh wait, that's all elves.
Okay, I think it's time to go on.
Speaking of jerky elves, let's listen to all of the multitude of voices of the ancient ones we have stored up.
Let's go.
Voices of the ancient ones.
Voices of the ancient ones.
Welcome to Voices of the Ancient Ones. This is where we give you, the Glowburn community, an opportunity to contribute, sending in your questions, comments, or other gaming words of wisdom. I was recently digging through some rubble, and I found this old answering machine, and this was the message I found on it. It's, I think the tape broke, guys.
Is that an 8-track?
All right, so look, people, I'm going to level with you, all right? To do Voices of the Ancient Ones, we need voices of the Ancient Ones. So to have those voices, we need those voices from you. So allow me to, a little public service announcement to say, feel free anytime, whether it's morning, noon, or night, if you're at work if you're at home, if you're eating dinner, to email us at glowburnpodcast@gmail.com. In fact, right now, you right there, email us your question. We'll answer it right here on the air, but like on a podcast, not on the air, but you know what I mean. Do it.
Do it.
We'll record it live, but it won't be live when you hear it because it'll be recorded live.
That's the whole point of the ancient ones, right? They're dead.
Exactly.
Don't be dead. Be active.
At least while you're posing your question.
Exactly. Yeah, if you want to die after posing the question, well, that's up to you.
Perfectly fine.
Although you probably won't hear the answer.
That's also morbid, but that's fine.
You'll be leaving a legacy, right? There you go.
There you go.
I don't know if we're going to get any good response out of this, guys.
Yeah, this is... Yeah.
Probably not.
It can't beat the response we got this month.
That's true.
Ooh.
That is true.
Okay, moving on.
The Great Disaster.
Welcome to The Great Disaster, and as we stated earlier, we have with us Judge Jonathan Snodgrass to talk about Starcrawl with us. Judge Jonathan, why don't we start out with you giving us a little spiel on what Starcrawl is exactly?
Sure. So Starcrawl is something that, well, it's a tool set for DCC or MCC adventures in space, although it can be used with any kind of D20 standard kind of base rules with that. It's fairly open, fairly compatible. My intention with it was to really get something that so many of the sci-fi games that are out there, so many of the things we play from Star Frontiers on up to more modern stuff, it always has a very, very strong setting. Everything is kind of set in place. So when you're playing with these aliens, if you're playing with, whatever, if you're playing with a Star Trek-based thing, you've got your Vulcans, you've got your Ferengi, you've got these guys. I really wanted to avoid that. I wanted to have something where a game master, a judge could sit down and say, I want space rules, but I want it to be my universe. I want it to be whatever I want it to be. And that's a big thing I did with this. So things like the race templates, which we can talk about in a minute, but things like that, I wanted it to be more templatable rather than something set in stone. So the idea of, inspired by DCC, that whole idea of it's fantasy gaming without a strong campaign world. It's your campaign world. It's where you want to place it. It's what you want to do with it.
Great. Now, that said, I'm going to guess that you personally probably had some sources of cinematic or literary inspiration going into it. I mean, I see that you've intentionally genericized things to let people apply it where they want to, but what was your inspiration to jump into it?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my inspiration came for any kind of sci-fi stuff I do is TV. I've always been a big TV guy, and now with having things like Netflix and Hulu where I can revisit a lot of those old shows like Star Trek. While I was writing this, the original series of Star Trek was pretty much on through the whole thing. That was kind of the background to much of it. Mm-hmm. Star Trek, Twilight Zone, Babylon 5, Farscape, a lot of those great kind of both serialized and kind of anthology and single episode shows were really, really big influences on putting this together. The whole game kind of spawned out of my home campaign and the group that I play with. And one of the guys had, when I kind of gave him the first playtest rules of some of the classes, his thing was, can I play Han Solo in this? And he was like, it passes the Han Solo test. Whereas my test with it was, can I run a Star Trek, the original series campaign? And it passes that test for me. A big part of the kind of in the back half of the book, there's rules for generating planets, a lot of tables for random encounters in space, random planets you'll come across. And I really was, you'll see a lot of it if you read through them. A lot of them are directly from Star Trek episodes. Because that's kind of, I love that idea of stepping out into the universe in every adventure, never having an idea of what you're going to come across. It could be some, alien space energy being that's going to take over the ship. It could just be a Nazi planet. It could be anything.
Punch it.
Yeah, exactly. You send a team down and you beat them up and shoot them up, and there you go. Have a good time. But yeah, and I mean, other stuff, of course, Flash Gordon, as far as movies, I think that kind of, Flash Gordon, as well as not even so much from the sci-fi, but movies like The Warriors, Wild Bunch, Magnificent Seven, of having these, these groups of specialists or oddballs that get together and overcome, some difficulty. I love those kind of things. And in both in my gaming and this, kind of having that inspiration of, can I put together, a Magnificent Seven from these rules and throw them out into adventure?
So you got a little bit of Western running through there too.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's, especially when you look at shows like Firefly,
Yes.
Serenity. Yeah. That kind of, that Western idea of, you've got these cowboys that are going out into space with nothing but a gun, a laser gun, and in what they've got on their ship. That's great. I mean, that's so evocative, and it leaves so much free reign to do whatever you want in that universe.
As I played it before, and as a player for it and in Starcrawl, what I love about this game is that I'm going to bet that whatever you're as a player or a GM, whatever makes that kind of cool, fun, sci-fi in space kind of cinema you like, when you read this, that's what you're going to get out of it. When I got out of it when I read it, was I was taken back to video games like Star Control and Space Quest and obviously Star Trek, but like Master of Orion, which is where I did my when I did my mutagenesis, I did a Master of Orion template for this, So I was thinking about those, and I don't know how many of those, if any of those, were in your mind when you're looking at this, Jonathan. But it's so open, and it's so open for interpretation, I think whatever you want to run in space, you're going to find a way to do it with this. I was like kind of grinning ear to ear when I read through the book when I got it.
Well, thank you. I think that's a great sales pitch. Thank you. I'll put you on the sales team.
There you go. I get an extra few experience points when I play with you next.
There you go. Yeah. I'll give you a bonus roll on the random weird stuff table there.
There we go. So long as you don't let me go to the sticky planet, the oh so sticky planet. That's on the template. The one there's the random thing on the planets, the planet generator. I remember one of them is either like super sticky or squishy or something like that. If I remember.
Yes, it's just oh so sticky. Everything's
there.
Sticky.
You go.
That, and one of my other favorites from the random is the Dyson sphere, where it's basically the idea of a Dyson sphere, except it's encircled by a thin layer of chicken fat, and it's the description is it's just as gross as you would expect. It's that's one of my favorites on there.
Oh, gross. I was thinking you might be able to take that. I mean, if you didn't want to run a Starcrawl campaign necessarily, you could actually do almost a multi-dimensional hex crawl and use that for the hexes.
Yeah.
That could be kind of fun.
So one of I've got a few things that are very, very slowly coming together. And one of the ideas is that I do want to, so those two tables in there, I've got 50 entries each, basically because at the time I was like, you know what, I'm dragging to get like one or two ideas at this point a day. It kind of tapered off. And one of my hopes is that I can take those tables, expand them out to 100 results each, and have a kind of procedurally generated universe where you can do and just set out and go for it. I did it on a smaller level. One of the big steps in the home campaign that I ran was there was a planet that the characters went to, and I did it as like a hex crawl alien world where every hex was, you had a different chance of something, and the planet was a rogue planet where it was kind of not on a steady orbit. So every day you would roll different for possible different gravity effects as the spin accelerates, this kind of thing. And so I want to kind of transfer that to the macro scale of having just set out your ship in the universe, and every week the game master rolls for what planet you encounter this week.
Nice. It's like the old Traveler planet generator.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I know a few friends of mine really love Traveler. I had a lot more fun with character generation in Traveler than I did playing
it. The ones that lived, that is.
Yeah.
Mark, you're being pretty quiet over there.
Am I? I mean, I was just kind of letting people talk. So obviously this is designed with the DCC, and you actually have, I think you're like the second third-party publisher to have the MCC compatible with. So what were you thinking in terms of compatibility? I mean, was this sort of like, I want to make sure that I've got both to maximize, saleability, or do you have something in mind for how people would use Starcrawl in a DCC game or Starcrawl in an MCC game in terms of taking those games and then bringing them into Starcrawl versus taking Starcrawl and then using those games as additional resources?
Yeah, absolutely. So when this came about, my original campaign that kind of led to this, the home campaign, was it started out as a straight DCC game, and the characters were pulled into another dimension. And from that dimension, they ended up going through a gateway, ending up on a post-apocalyptic world. So we had a segment of the campaign was Mutant Crawl Classics. And then from there, they were desperate because they still had hope that they could get back to their home world. And they found hints of a basically an apocalypse arc off of the planet. And big part of the campaign, the goal of that section of the campaign was fighting through the world to try and find this giant spaceship that could carry them to the stars and hopefully a better non-apocalyptic planet. So I could absolutely see that as a portion of MCC, kind of moving the adventure off-world. One of the adventures, actually the adventure you played in, Mark, at GaryCon last year, the Threen Station Zero. That one I'm writing right now. That's going to be the first one that I release, like the first module I release for Starcrawl. And I'm writing it up as dual stats so that it's straight Starcrawl as well as MCC, and the idea being you're exploring this ancient space station. For the MCC rules, it is just a research station of the ancients, so it's just this subterranean compound, so it kind of has a lot of the same elements of being trapped underground versus being trapped in space. Once you're into it, you're kind of trapped,
or even trapped in space around the planet, the ruined Terra A.D.
Absolutely. I mean, teleporters, you could always have a teleporter of the ancients send you up to this space station. You've got to fight your way back to get a shuttle to return to your home, something like that. Or even using the MCC within Starcrawl as these apocalyptic worlds are possible destinations. There's a lot of planets out there. A lot of them are burnt out.
Oh, yeah. There's some hints in the MCC book about the ancients having colonized the solar system, if nothing else. So you could definitely develop a look beyond just Terra as far as what happened to the ancients.
Absolutely. And one of the things I describe in there is using these MCC characters, bringing them in. But there's no reason if you decided, hey, I want to do an MCC campaign, but you know what? I'm tired of humans. I want to have them all be pig people, and you could take one of the race templates and now you're applying it to that your world was an alien world of the ancients, maybe.
So going down the template discussion here, especially with the race templates, how is character creation different in Starcrawl from DCC or MCC? You have 6 classes, but you have these race templates as well. So walk someone who's never seen Starcrawl yet. How does someone build a character in Starcrawl?
Yeah, so there are 3 big differences, 3 big things that I kind of introduced with this. The first 2 being simple stats. Perception, which I always forget, and it's kind of born of my own laziness as a judge. I never am really consistent as to whether I'm using luck or intelligence for people to notice things. So I added in my home campaign a perception stat. And it's just you add your modifiers for luck and intelligence. And for certain classes, your thief, your rover, your scoundrel class from Starcrawl, you also add your level to it. And it's just a straight roll. Do I notice this? Make a perception check. It's simplified things for me a lot. And so I kept it in this. The other being credit, which is a different way of handling economy and currency. So based on your starting occupation, you'll have a different credit rating. And as your character goes up not necessarily goes up in level, but goes up in wealth. So if you acquire a starship, it'll increase your die type, your credit die type by 1. If you get transient wealth, so something like when I got this starship, it was loaded with, weapons or salt or something, you might get a temporary bonus to that credit. And whenever you try to buy something, you simply roll your credit die against the value. It's a very different way of doing things, but in my home campaign and kind of playing with it in adventures, running playtest stuff, I think it works really, really well. And I think it's an interesting way of doing things.
Abstract wealth systems can really make things easier for a GM. So I'm a fan of abstract wealth systems rather than counting every penny. But there's pros and cons each way. I was also just thinking that somebody's going to have to write up Experian, the intergalactic patron of credit.
But the biggest change, though, is, as you said, James, the race templates. So the race templates, originally I'd kind of thought, okay, having a few different alien races, putting them in there. But then I realized that very quickly that would become, in my opinion, too restrictive for this, because that really defeated that whole idea of having things kind of general. So I created these templates where when you select a template, you're applying it to your character class. It's not something that, not the typical, it's much more of the like advanced D&D or, modern D&D idea of you pick a race and your class is of that race. But where it really differs from them is that when you choose a race, you're not deciding what your character looks like. You're deciding what abilities your character has based on their race. So, for example, if you've got the race template of Space Pig, your Space Pig could be a savage, space orc. It could be like, the Warhammer 40K big orc. It could be like Miss Piggy Pigs in space. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. With the, like a great example is the bugs template. I've had a few different players pick, bugs. One guy picked, just a very humanoid looking bug evolved from insects into human form. Another player, she said, what? I want to be a scorpion the size of a dog. Done.
Sold.
Yeah, I mean, the templates are broad enough that it's, it's completely up to you how you utilize them and how do you apply them in character. And I really encourage game masters, judges to work with their players. It might be that you have, say, I want to run a game based on this IP, or this show or this video game, and you might have clearly defined, okay, if you're picking a space pig, it's an orc. If you're picking, a bug, it's like a tyrannid kind of guy if you want to kind of run a 40K inspired game. Or it could be, more like a lot of the modern, kind of storytelling games where it's a collaborative thing. Okay, talk to me about what these guys look like, or even if the judge decides, hey, I'm going to throw out the template, you tell me what you think these aliens should look like. If I tell you you're fighting a space bug, what do you think that space bug looks like? And allows you to kind of make it more of a collaborative experience with the players.
That's very cool. I mean, I can tell that a lot of this stuff came up organically as you played through it. But I'm wondering, with the race templates, did you have any model? Because there's really not anything quite like it in DCC or MCC. Maybe a little bit MCC, but very loosely. Where else did you get inspiration on that?
For the race templates, obviously from D&D, that was the big thing. I mean, that's the game I came up on when I was coming through playing, it was learning where, okay, you pick your class and then you're going to pick your race based on the advantages you get from that class. And that also kind of served a little bit of a template of what not to do. So each of my race templates has some advantages, but I wanted to be very clear and make sure that anyone could use any class with any race and they're not going to feel cheated. I mean, as you guys know, stats aren't the be-all end-all in DCC and MCC. It's you can have garbage stats and he'll still have an amazing character based on play and based on your abilities. And I really think with, obviously there's some class combinations, class race template combinations, like the Stone Folk. The Stone Folk get a +1 die type to their hit points. And obviously, as a warrior, that's phenomenal. But the flip side of that is I can really see somebody having a pretty awesome psyker, just taking that D4 hit points and upping it to a D6. And now you've got this big weirdo rock psyker guy. Maybe he's just a floating crystal that uses psychic powers and has these weird little ropey tendrils that kind of come out and grab things. I wanted to make sure that it was flexible and fun.
Wouldn't a D4 go to a D5?
I guess it would, yeah, on the chain, yeah. So it's not as much of an advantage, but it's still something.
Here's Mark, rules lawyer in you here. Rules lawyering the guest. Nice job.
What? I love my dice chain. Leave me alone.
Can you talk a bit about the space combat system?
Yeah, so the space combat system, I wanted to make sure that I had something that was playable, but didn't get bogged down and didn't slow down the game too much. And that's the danger with so many of the other games. When you get into a lot of these systems, a lot of these other sci-fi systems, you've got like these super complex systems, which are fantastic for simulation. But if you just want something to be quick and fast paced, it can really get out of hand. So what I did was I used a lot of the lessons I had learned from doing Vehicle Mayhem and kind of applied them to this. So certain things like the idea of abstract movement. If you set ships down and you can have a giant map and have all this stuff out, when you come down to space combat, it doesn't matter. All the rest of the map doesn't matter. All that matters is the direct area between those two ships that are fighting. So with having, kind of abstracting that movement to just the fact of, okay, everything is based on this circle with a couple of rings. One ship is at the center and the other ship is kind of outside the ring based on how far they are away. That's all you really need. As ships move away, you kind of shift the whole thing and kind of move things around. And I really like that idea, that simplicity of that. And then the character sheets, the ship sheets, I wanted to keep simple as well. I tried to keep it down to just a couple statistics for ships so it didn't get too bogged down. So each ship has a maneuvering die, a speed die, and damage denominator. Those are the key stats for them. Anytime you attempt to outmaneuver another ship or get better positioning to get a shot on them, you're going to use your maneuvering die. If you're trying to outrun a ship, get away from them, escape from combat, you could roll the speed die. That's it. Anytime somebody shoots you, you've got a few dots for armor rather than a specific hit point for your ship. You've got armor and then hull, and your damage denominator goes up based on size, because I wanted to make sure it didn't get too burdensome when you're fighting against, these giant battle cruisers versus like a tiny fighter. All of them have roughly the same amount of armor, the same points of armor and hull, but the difference is by having a damage denominator. By that meaning, so for a small fighter ship, it's going to take 5 points of damage to actually remove a point of armor. But for a much larger ship, like some Planet Killer or something, it's going to take 10 points of damage to remove an armor. And that allows you to have a really big range, a different way of using the damage, so that, making these bigger ships much tougher than the small ships, but keeping them all using the same damage system. I'm not sure if that's a good explanation, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize for saying this right now. It sounds a little bit like mega damage from Rifts, but in a good way.
I tried to simplify that kind of mega damage. I kept that in mind, but that whole MDC SDC thing, that can get a little bit confusing.
Yes.
But it is absolutely inspired by that. Yes.
It looks like your Starship record. When I saw it for the first time, I thought BattleTech instantly.
Oh yeah.
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, so did I. I did the same thing.
Oh, I completely ripped off BattleTech.
Awesome.
There's no question.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah. I'm working on something down the line that's even going to rip off BattleTech further. So it's definitely a big source of inspirations. BattleTech and Car Wars, those systems are great, simple methods for tracking damage to machines.
Are you doing rules for Mecha?
Neckcrawler.
It's possible. I one of my players in my home campaign, we were talking. He was like, "I'd like to fight with giant robots." So I'm working on something. I'm working on something for you there, Christopher. I'm trying to figure it out.
Kaiju Crawl Classics.
Yes, please.
And actually, that brings me to a very, capital V, very important question. Where's the classics? It's just Starcrawl.
So when I first had it, when I first started working on it, I was working under the assumption Starcrawl Classics. Everything was Starcrawl Classics. At some point, I started thinking about it, and I was worried because it's like, well, I'm kind of working on this on my own, kind of unsanctioned, as it were. I didn't really want anybody to confuse and think, like, seeing a listing for Starcrawl Classics or anything, to think in any way, shape, or form this was official. And once I started using those Starcrawl and started thinking of it that way, I really liked it evoking those two really, really big inspirations of Star Trek and Star Wars. And having that simple Star Trek, Star Wars, Starcrawl, I really liked the feel of it. And as I used it more and more, it felt more and more natural to me.
Okay, cool.
Plus, it still leaves room if Goodman looks at this and they say, you know what, this is garbage, we need to get out ahead of this. They can still put out Starcrawl Classics and say, ignore this Snodgrass guy, you need to get a good roll.
Nice.
So I had a specific question for you, Jonathan. It's a very specific question. So one of the example skill checks for the mechanic is figure out alien currency. Have you ever had somebody fail that? And what happens if you fail that?
So I didn't have anybody fail it, but it did come up in a game where a group of the characters were on an alien planet and they had this weird currency system and they had to figure it out, and it worked. But it was the reason my thoughts with if it were failed was it was inspired. There was an old What If. Do you remember the old Marvel What If comics? Yeah. There was a What If comic where it was what if Conan came to
New York. I saw. Yes, I read that. Yes.
And one of the first things Conan does is he mugs a guy.
Yep.
And when he mugs the guy, he empties his pockets and he throws away the paper wrappings that he had around his coins.
Right.
And it's that, and I always have that in mind, like, if you didn't understand the currency, that would be, what is this paper? This is garbage. I need the coins. So I like that idea of they could fail it and just go broke because they're dumbasses.
Or they invested all in Bitcoin.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. If you fail that roll, you could end up as a, Bitcoin hoarder.
For folks that pick up the book here, they're going to find there's an adventure in the back called the Promethean Adventure, which I've played. So what can you tell us about, knowing that I know what you're going to tell us about it, but pretend I don't know, tell us about that adventure, like what inspired that adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew that I wanted to have a zero level funnel included with the book because I wanted to make sure that as soon as somebody picked it up, they could jump right into it and really get a feel for it. And I knew that I didn't want like a standard, exploration or something like that. I wanted something to really emphasize the idea that with Starcrawl, I like the idea that most citizens of a civilized universe aren't running around with armor and guns and shooting things down. A lot of their encounters, a lot of the problems they're going to have are simply environmental and situational. So I wanted to have something like that. And the obvious solution to that is do a disaster epic. Do something, I was thinking like, Titanic, the Towering Inferno, something like this. And I was talking with one of the guys that is a part of the Pittsburgh scene, Stefan Flickinger.
Nice.
And talking with him about it. And Stefan was like, I'm telling him about this idea. And he was like, oh, like the Poseidon Adventure. And I was like, oh, the Poseidon Adventure, yes. And absolutely. And that so much clicked from there. It was like, oh, so many of the things, like there are scenarios, there are bits in the adventure that are definitely throwbacks and shout outs to that of, you know, this whole idea. And the whole adventure is you're on this massive cruise ship and things go wrong. There is an attack, explosions start happening, and you've got to race and try and get out of the ship, whether it be escape pods or some other way of getting off and getting to safety before this massive luxury liner blows up. And it's, I think it's a lot of fun. I've run it a few times with a few different groups. I've had other people run it, and I think it's a blast, and I think it's got a lot of replayability. It's the kind of adventure that it's very possible that all of the characters could die in the first room, in which point you just hand off other characters and say, here you go. You guys were in another section of the ship when the attack happened. And it's a very easy adventure to kind of pick up with. You've got different people in different parts of the ship. You've got maybe the crew members who have to escape from the kitchen. You've got maybe a family in the luxury section that has to try and find their way through. I think it's a cool adventure, and I think it's got a lot of possibilities with it.
I wonder if you could even do like a Pandorum ripoff, you know, set in that. Do you know Pandorum?
I don't know Pandorum.
Oh, okay. Jim or Mark, do you guys know Pandorum?
Oh, I know Pandorum.
I do not know Pandorum.
Okay. What do you think, Jim? I think it could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it would work out actually pretty well. So imagine if the Promethean, if like people are in hypersleep on that thing, instead of being a crash, and they wake up out of hypersleep, and there have been other humans in this case, who have been living on there for like centuries outside of hypersleep, eating each other like cannibals.
And mutated.
So. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh, oops,
It doesn't take long to get there in the movie.
It's only a friggin' old as hell movie, so you should have watched it by now. And if you haven't, it's because you were busy watching other movies.
It's really good. Yeah.
Like Passengers.
No, that sounds awesome. I think you could absolutely do that. Yeah, having this kind of disaster epic thing.
Yeah. That could be really fun.
Poseidon Adventure in space, huh?
It's pretty cool. As a player, it was pretty damn cool.
I've got an idea that I'd love to run it at some point. If I can convince a buddy of mine to run it with me, I'd love to run it as a multi-table game at like GaryCon or something, where you've got different groups of survivors at different parts of the ship, and they potentially encounter each other, fighting over resources, trying to get to the pods. I think it could be a pretty nuts scenario.
You need to watch Pandorum, man. Seriously, go watch that movie, and it'll give you all the inspiration you need to do a multi-table. I guarantee it.
So I ran a Space Crawl Classics game two Gen Cons ago, where it was like you were a spaceship that crashed into a planet during actually, Mark, you played in this. It was
Centagoats.
Well, I retitled it Scattered Over Centaurus 7 instead of Centagoats originally it was Centagoats over Centaurus 7, and it featured centipede goats with stinger tails. But I changed things up a little bit to make it more creepy, you know. And it was my homage to Aliens and Predator, and I kind of wish I had this book when I ran that now.
Yeah, that one was interesting because you only gave everybody one pre-gen at a time.
It was a different take on a funnel. So you start when I ran it at the next Gen Con, you start with one pre-gen, trying to get off a spaceship during a reality TV show gone wrong, and you have to find other zero levels like. The zero levels that you are getting for the rest of the party as the game progresses are like a currency. You're trying to find more survivors to up your survivor pool. So just saying.
Human currency.
No, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, mm-hmm. I like that.
Well, there you go.
That'd be easy to do with the Promethean, you know. You start out with just a few, pick up a couple survivors here and there, hidden away.
How I did it's on my blog somewhere. So go find some goats on my blog.
I feel like you can take a dash of inspiration from Die Hard and have the starting PCs all be in the spa, and so they don't have shoes. Yes.
Glass everywhere.
Exactly.
Even better, 0G with glass.
Ew.
Oh, jeez.
So if someone was going to do Starcrawl for you right now, Jonathan, what would you want to play?
So in the book, I did the crummy art in the book, and on page 12 there is an octopus with a doctor bag.
Yep.
My doctopus. I would love to play the doctopus just to see where things go with that guy. I like the idea of this kind of slimy tentacled doctor that nobody really wants to touch them. And, but your life depends on him. Yeah. I think I could have a blast with the doctopus.
That's hysterical.
Octopus, that's great. I love it. Yeah, so I mean, you disparage your own art, sir, but I think a lot of it's actually quite good.
I like it.
When I was flipping through the book, I got to page 42, and there's this, I don't know if it's supposed to be a ship with these humongous rockets on the back, or if it's like a weird helmet with binoculars or what, but it reminded me of a character I played in one of Jim's games. And so I immediately fell in love.
That was one of my later pieces that I did for it. And I was looking for a ship, and I thought I was kind of inspired by what's the Marvin the Martian ship?
Oh yeah.
The giant gunship. So that's kind of based on that. That was my second attempt at that ship, and I was pretty happy with how it came out. Thank you.
It's great artwork throughout, I think.
Oh, thank you. There are a couple pieces that I had a few friends contribute. If you go on to page 30 and 31, that on the left is a good friend of mine, Alan, who I do my podcast with. He did that crazy gorilla with the alien brain thing.
Yes.
And
awesome.
On the other page, Dave 8-Cylinder is that amazing piece with that guy with the giant cybernetic arm. Yeah, he did it. Dave did a few pieces for me in here that are really impressive, crazy stuff. I'm hoping to get more art for him as I do some supplements.
I also like the Wizard Mysterio on page 22.
Yeah.
It's like classic wizard with a fishbowl helmet. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Hey, when you look at that picture, what do you think of it? Look at his feet. Are those shoes or tentacles?
Why can't they be both? I mean, tentacles get cold too.
Yeah, that is true. I drew them originally as shoes, but everyone who's looked at it afterwards says those are awesome little tentacles, and I was like, I guess they're tentacles.
That's because he's wearing a cultist robe. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could very easily. Now that because I immediately thought shoes, but now that you say that, they could definitely be mistaken for tentacles, and I think it works. I think it just makes that image that much better now. It's like, what the heck is under that robe?
And that hand, I'm terrible at drawing hands and terrible at drawing feet. I'm very proud of that hand because I will never draw a hand that good again.
That's good.
I'm really.
Yeah, no, it's a good piece.
Well, thank you.
And while we're throwing compliments out, Jonathan, I gotta say I love the 0G system, the 0G combat. I mean, it's like one paragraph, I think, but it's just so simple and slick and really annoying for those who are going to be fighting in 0G. I really like that. It just kind of captures for me like the old school. Let's keep this simple, keep it slick, and make it really hard on characters.
Forrest likes annoying things.
Oh, I do. But I really like that because I've seen a lot of, I've played a fair amount of sci-fi role-playing games, and man, you kind of have to go with like 1980s physics or nothing. If you go beyond that, it's just too complex.
That's not true. I did a good hard sci-fi game with Mark. It was you can play with real physics are fun, man.
It was really fun trying to figure out how to not send ourselves even further into the intergalactic nothingness. It was like, all right, we're gonna use this other ship as it's been like 20 minutes, the 3 or 4 players that we had. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4, but we'd spent like 20 minutes arguing about the best way to execute a plan so that physics wouldn't screw us.
Boy, that's even more annoying than me.
No, it was good though. It was like, I think all the players were the right kind of science nerds. So that we all enjoyed that aspect of it.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to have an engineering degree to do 0G combat. So I really like the system in Starcrawl.
I don't have, my memory is not nearly good enough for complex systems. So,
Yeah.
I need to keep it simple. Otherwise, I'll never remember it.
You guys both want to be you guys just want to be Marky Mark riding on the back of that spaceship with Sam Jones or whatever from Flash Gordon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of, Jim. Yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
Who needs the vacuum of space, right? You just fly out and do it.
That's right. Well, we're running out of time. Before we drift away into the mutagenesis, I want to just talk real briefly about DCC Vehicle Mayhem, because that was kind of like, that was your first DCC product you tossed out, right?
Yeah. That was the first thing I self-published. That was a game that was really meant to be used within the parameters of DCC, MCC, or anything else where you're using dice. It's pretty system neutral, and it's just a strictly vehicle combat. You put cars on a track and you run and you smash into each other. Nothing more deep than that.
Was the inspiration Mad Max, is it that clear, or was there something else, some other kind of, maybe a little bit of Wraith tossed in there with Charlie Sheen? Like, what are you thinking?
Car Wars?
Yeah, it's definitely Car Wars and Mad Max. That's what it was all about. It came across from my home campaign. I'd mentioned earlier that a big portion of that was them on a post-apocalyptic world, and when they found out that there was a way off the planet, the only way to get there was across the wasteland, and they had to steal cars from the big car gang, the Disciples of the Wheel, and what ensued was a massive chase across the wasteland. And I realized I've got to have special rules for this, and it was, as you said, heavily inspired by Car Wars, using a little bit of the damage system from BattleTech for tracking damage to the armor and then to the hull. And it's I think what came out was a really simple car rules that's very easy to template in and throw into a game.
Yeah, when you ran this last year, it's a little over a year ago. It was I think it was November of 2017 was when you ran it at Phantom.
Yeah, that was the last big game before I released it.
Yeah, it was fun there was watching, was it Christopher Woodford with the spray his teeth with the
silver spray.
Yeah, I brought a can of the silver spray.
Yeah, like the cake spray. Yeah. He instantly regretted it.
Oh yeah, no one ever wants that to happen. Tell the audience about the big sandworm in the game. The sandworm miniature.
One of the things with the race is every round you make a roll to see if there's a random event that happens, whether that be a bend in the road that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to handle, debris on the road, snipers, your Tuscan Raiders sitting out on the hills shooting at you. And one of the big results is the waste worm coming out and grabbing people. And for that, I wanted to have, I thought about, I need a miniature, I need something dramatic. And my wife had these goofy ass socks that she was going to throw away, these big brown wool socks with these big fur cuffs. And I was like, there we go. I slapped on them some googly eyes and a big red felt tongue.
Yeah, we're playing the game, right? And this is a hard. So first off, I gotta say this is not some slapdash track. He has a track that looks like actual asphalt. Okay, totally decked out, spray painted. It looks amazing. He's a whole fleet of cars, okay, all painted out. I brought a pair of cars. Stefan brought some cars. Everyone brought these cars they painted lovingly at home. The next thing you know, like a Muppet shows up, all right, and is eating cars. It was awesome.
Once the waste worm shows up, you're kind of screwed. It's
pretty awesome. Yeah.
So I did a reskin for it for one of Mike Bolam's games. It was virtual Mayhem, where it was all set in a computer, and it was, you've got, like, I painted up like Tron cars for it, and that it didn't come up, but instead of the waste worm, you had the giant Jamiroquai that would dance across the field. And unfortunately, it hasn't come up when I've run it, but I'm waiting for Jamiroquai to show up and smash some cars.
Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Well, I think with virtual Jamiroquai, that's perfect time for us to head over to mutagenesis.
Yeah, that's as much of a cue as any.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mutagenesis.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up here with mutagenesis, and this is the part of Glowburn we take stuff from media or other game systems or just about wherever and convert or create for MCC RPG use. Jonathan, since you are our guest judge this month, why don't you kick things off?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, I've taken a lot of inspiration from television shows, particularly sci-fi and Star Trek. So I decided to throw in one of my favorite Star Trek monsters, villain as it were, Nomad from the Changeling episode, the giant robot, human-sized robot probe that shows up, interferes with the Enterprise, and kills Scotty. And I thought this is a great monster to show up as a villain on a planet on MCC. It shows up and begins analyzing and potentially sterilizing the village. The players would have to figure out how do we deal with this potentially unstoppable robot. As far as combat, it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. AC of 25, maybe 60 hit points.
Oh my god!
Self-repairing, D12 healing per round, a 2D20 death ray. Basically, if it turns its attention to you, you're completely screwed. It has, on contact, it can do mind wipes. Effectively, it's an energy drain attack as it wipes away your experience and knowledge. However, it is highly vulnerable to logic traps. With a intelligence check, you can lock it into a loop that leaves it vulnerable to easy destruction or slamming into a cement vault somewhere.
Whoa. Whoa.
It doesn't like Zen.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
God.
It's and of course it just parrots off, sterilize, your thoughts are uncoordinated, standard kind of big dumb robot probe.
So if you can play the Zenemy, then you're good.
There you go. Yes.
I like it.
AC of 25. You're a monster.
We like that around here, though.
Nice.
I mean, that's on par with Forrest Foo Bear.
Yeah, that was a little bit inspiring. Once I heard that, I really realized, the gloves are off. It doesn't matter. I can just kill them all. Yeah.
See, it's your fault, Forrest.
It's Boofier's fault, not mine. It's really Christopher Robin's fault.
Oh, man.
All right.
Who of us is next?
I'll go.
All right.
So, as I said earlier, one of my inspirations I got out of reading through Starcrawl was from Master of Orion 2, which is possibly one of my favorite, empire building games. It was for the PC back in the mid-90s, and I lost a full letter grade in calculus my freshman year at Penn State because of Master of Orion 2. And I'm just going to tell you now, it was worth it. That was a really good game of Master of Orion 2. Okay. I should have been studying. It was one of those games where I looked outside and I was playing the game. And it was like almost 2 a.m. and I was totally cool with it. I looked outside 5 minutes later and the sun was coming up. It's worth it. One of my favorite aliens in Master of Orion 2 were the Noloms. And they weren't in Mu 1. But in Mu 2, these little purple dwarf guys that were from a low-G world. So I've brought Noloms. That's G-N-O-L-A-M-S. I've brought the Noloms to Starcrawl. And what the Noloms have is a -1 strength, +1 personality, and +1 luck. They start with an additional random item roll on page 32, have a +1 D to their credit die, and their special ability is they're a deal maker. Anytime they're making like a personality roll to cement a trade deal, they get +2 D to the roll, effectively rolling a D30, but maybe modified. They max at D30. In addition, if you're trying to determine value, Noloms always end up with 137.5% of the value of the deal. Okay? It's just crazy that way.
Why 137.5?
You have a problem with that? Where do you want to be at then, Mark?
I know. It's a very specific number.
Well, let's talk. I mean, where do you want to go? Where do you want to start at?
Don't try to make a deal with him. Just don't do it, Mark. You're gonna lose.
I've already made a mistake, Forrest. Run while you can.
Let's just keep it at 137.5. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want.
I win. Look at that. I won. That was like I won the negotiation. I'm a no-long.
I feel like I just got rickrolled.
See, I love this as a race template because I could really even see this as beyond just using it for Nolums, but using it as like this merchant races template. You could have it for Nolums, for Rengi.
Ferengi, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
What's that one master like merchant race in Star Wars? The I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Wookiees.
No, not Wookiees.
Wookiees. Yeah, the master merchant race. Happy Life Day.
I think you're thinking Jawas.
No, they're mechanics. I guess they're mechanics. Huts. Yeah, huts. I don't know. I don't remember merchant race in Star Wars.
I don't really remember any race
Humans.
in Star Wars. Other than
Humans. There you go. Humans are the merchant race in Star Wars.
Sure they are. Anywho.
Mark, what do you got, Mark?
So when I was writing this up, I think it was last week, I was actually staring at my blog trying to get some writing done and really starting to freak out as to whether or not I could get everything that I wanted to get done before the end of the year, which was sort of my self-imposed deadline. And so I said, time travel would be really handy right now because I could go back in time and slap myself. So I have the time jump belt because, the ancients were pretty darn smart and they knew that time travel was possible, but it is not an easy thing. It's got a pretty high toll. I mean, basically it's all about energy input. If you want to push backwards through time in the wrong direction, that's a lot of energy that's required. There's also the issue of actual physical movement because the Earth rotates on its axis. It revolves around the sun. The whole solar system spins around the sun. And then the whole galaxy spins around the galactic core, which, of course, hauls the solar system around. So, like, for every, minute, that you are sitting in place in, like, your house while watching TV, you've actually traveled quite a big distance in linear space. And so if you travel back in time, you end up in a problematic situation where if you aren't able to also travel through space, then there's nothing there for you to travel back to. So you end up in just the empty vacuum of space where the Earth will eventually intersect and die. So they had to, integrate into a time travel device a teleportation device. And long story short, this thing sucks energy like it's nobody's business. It is a tech level 6 because it's still not alien tech. It's complexity modifier of 5, which is probably low. I could have easily made that higher. For power, it can only use Q cells, and it destroys them in the process. They are utterly and completely drained. And the effect is very simple, unless you're the GM, in which case it's not at all very simple. But the user can teleport backwards in time and space up to a maximum of 1 turn or as little as 1 round. And that may not seem like a whole lot of time, like 10 minutes may not seem like a lot, but if you consider how much that can screw with a campaign, that's plenty.
So I'm curious, what happens if you fail your artifact check while using that thing?
I mean, you're a judge.
Oh, okay. I'm totally game with that.
Death. I mean, maybe the teleportation doesn't work, but the time travel does. Or maybe the time travel doesn't work, but the teleportation does.
That's always how I've thought of why time travel be so hard. It's so crazy. You're thinking like the same way I've always thought. I'm like, the sun is moving in a distance. Everything's moving.
Yeah.
You can do this, but I mean, you're nowhere near.
Yeah, there's no such thing as stationary, even in outer space. Like, you can't ever really truly achieve a stationary, lack of movement.
Unless you're going 88 miles an hour. For some reason, that speed in any direction sinks you up.
Yeah, apparently. So that's the time jump belt.
That's cool.
I like it. All
right, Forrest, why don't you close us out? What do you got?
Okay. As you've gathered from my previous mutagenicide, that's the plural, right?
Yes.
Did we agree on that? Yeah, mutagenicide. So the ancients were very smart, as Mark points out, but they were also jerks. At least my ancient ones were jerks. And here's the proof. The proof is in Jingle Balls. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Is this going to get blue?
Pull your mind out of the gutter. Pull your mind out of the gutter,
Okay.
gentlemen. Try it.
Okay.
So I'm referring here to jingles like advertising music.
Okay.
It's Christmas time. We're hearing a lot of this stuff, right? Okay, so
Yes.
more broadly speaking, any music that annoys you and that you can't get out of your head. There's an artifact for that.
The earworm.
So this is so yes, I do mention the earworm. So simple, yet so profoundly annoying. The ancients knew advertising, and they knew music and advertising have a long, hideous history with each other, and they wanted an easy way to advertise in public spaces, so they invented the jingle balls. A jingle ball is a small spherical metal ball with no features. All you have to do is drop it on the floor or on a hard surface from about waist height onto any reasonably hard surface, and that activates it. When it hits the hard surface, the jingle ball emits music that is especially engineered to be an earworm, like you talked about just a minute ago, Mark. So this makes its way into your brain and throws off concentration and is generally very unnerving to any person within a 20-foot radius. So anyone in that 20-foot radius, when the ball drops, must make a DC 14 will save or suffer the following effects. All initiative rolls are at -1. The ability to cast spells, use psionics, or use any mental mutation that takes any degree of concentration is lost. Combat to hit rolls are made at a -1 because as you're listening to this music in your head, you're trying to shoot and swing your weapon to the beat of the music, throwing off your natural fighting rhythms. All intelligence bonuses are lost for obvious reasons. Now, you might say, Judge Forrest, you didn't provide a duration for these effects. To which I say, neither did the ancient ones. Didn't I mention that they're jerks? So the effects will continue until, yes, you guessed it, the player, and I mean the player, not the character, sings the jingle out loud with vigor, please.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my gosh.
You're a bastard.
You also notice that I'm not supplying any jingles. Those are up to the judge. I would suggest using songs that are really annoying to the one who must sing them. For example, Judge James would be sure to afflict Judge Forrest with, "What's love got to do with it?" Right? So I would have to sing this in order to stop the effects. Yeah, you don't need to continue. So, but the Glowburn judges might use, "Come on, Hector, finish what you started." Right? We would do this for Hector for our patron AI of audiovisual engineering. Now, whatever's most annoying to that player, that is exactly what the judge should use. So you kind of have to know your players. Or you just pick songs that are just generally annoying. Jingle balls are geared for humans, so others gain a bonus to their save. Plantians get a +3 because they don't even know what music is. And music instruments are made out of their bodies, typically.
That's racist.
Yeah. Manimals get a +1 unless the jingle involves animal sounds. For example, the ancient Pure DNA cat chow song, meow, 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 would negate a manimal's bonus to their will save. Robots get a +1 save versus anything that isn't techno. Techno negates their save. Now, like any good jingle and herpes, the jingle ball is a gift that keeps on giving. Once someone has failed a save versus a jingle ball, that person is susceptible to a return of the jingle should they take a critical hit to the head or face. This is for the rest of their life. In this case, the same rules apply as before, though the character's ability to properly sing the song may be limited due to missing teeth, missing their tongue, etc., and players should roleplay accordingly. Enterprising players will instantly recognize the jingle ball as a sort of hand grenade to annoy enemies with or to threaten the rest of the party to get what they want. And the jingle ball never runs out of energy or songs, ever. But it can be crushed by a blow that inflicts 12 points of damage at once. Entire rooms full of crushed jingle balls have been discovered, but no one dares enter such rooms, just in case.
Never gonna give you up.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna let you down.
Rickroll for the rest of your life. Yep.
Never gonna say goodbye.
Who hurt you, Forrest? Who hurt you?
Not Rick Astley.
Oh my God.
Yet.
Oh,
He said he's never going to hurt me.
He's never going to give you up either.
That's a problem.
All right, folks, let's wrap this show on the jingle balls.
Got some announcements. So, Home for the Holodeath, a MCC holiday adventure for level 1 characters written by Mr. Julian Burnick made its debut at PAX last week. I nabbed a copy, and it's pretty great. We've got some cons coming up, I think. So Total Con here in Massachusetts is in February, and I think I'm going to try to go to that and maybe run an event or two. It's only like 30 minutes from where I live, so that would eliminate a lot of the other con issues that I often have with regards to geography. And then, of course, at the beginning of March, we've got Gary Con. I will be there. I am running 2 sessions of my homebrewed Purple Pit of the Mole Men. And Forrest will be there running something American.
Still figuring that out exactly.
Okay. And probably some Call of Cthulhu off books, it looks like. So that's always good.
And on that too.
Some crazy person put Gen Con in here, and then I received an email about Gen Con, like, ticket sales and whatnot coming up in January.
Because next month, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Next month is friggin' Gen Con.
Well, no. Gen Con is in August.
No. Gen Con is 7 months of the year. You start thinking of it in August. You're fighting for hotel rooms by, like, what, March. In April, you're messing with events. In May, it's half the year. 7 months of the year is Gen Con.
It's as bad as Christmas.
It's worse than Christmas. You don't have to worry about trying to get a hotel room at Christmas time.
Unless you're traveling.
If you didn't get your hotel rooms yet for Gen Con, you're out of luck, though, right?
I actually have my hotel rooms booked, so at 2 separate hotels.
So just so people know, the dates, so event submissions for Gen Con begins January 6th, badge registration January 13, hotel registration the 27th. So there you go. Gen Con is apparently coming on you like, I don't know, just coming at you.
Have they thought about moving over to the PAX method of just having big books sign-up sheets?
Yeah.
That's how they're doing it this year.
Just paper all over the walls.
Would simplify things, right? Yeah.
Oh, just write it on the sidewalks outside in chalk, you know?
Yeah.
I did see that they re-upped their contract with the city for another, 3 or 4 years. And that has me a little worried because the con has already outgrown the capacity for hotels.
Yeah, but there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else that big as Indianapolis.
No.
Like convention center wise. There's few cities that have a convention center that's designed like that where
I understand. I'm just,
So if here's the thing, if we've outgrown that, then I think we need to go to war with Russia because we need the entire Crimea as we're going to have the next Gen Con, okay? So I think...
What about Las Vegas? You could do Vegas.
Could do Vegas.
That's too... I don't do Vegas. No one wants to go to
What
Vegas.
about Bahrain? You could take over Bahrain.
Oh, there we go.
The problem with Vegas is that there's not a single venue of this size. All of the different hotels would be... would have space, but they would. No one hotel has this much.
Let's do it in Philly. We'll do it in Philadelphia.
Oh God, no.
No parking.
Yeah. Parking would definitely be a problem.
I'm all set.
Yeah, you're all set.
Oh, before we go over to the how to contact us, I just want to make sure we're thanking Judge Jonathan here for jumping on the show with us.
Absolutely.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is a good time. Thanks.
So how to get a hold of us? For Twitter, it's @Glowburn. When you're emailing us, the voices of the ancient ones.
Hint, hint.
You're not angry, are you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that when you're emailing us, because why else would you email us unless to give us those voices of the ancient ones? It's glowburnpodcast@gmail.com, and it's Glowburn Podcast. Just like it's spelled, okay? So if you want to go to the Glow blog, it's just glowburn.blogspot.com, and there's always the G plus Glowburn community until G plus takes the same route as Terra A.D. and is destroyed by a post-apocalypse called itself. After that time, I guess we'll decide where our Glowburn community is going to live. Did we figure that out yet?
We have months to do that.
Yeah, all right. Well, all y'all can go on MeWe if you want. I ain't going over there. All right, Mark,
Yes.
how do we get a hold of you?
So, Twitter, @InspStrikes, INSP Strikes. My blog is inspstrikes.blogspot.com. You can find me on the Google Plus, or you can send us an email at glowburnpodcast@gmail.com.
Hopefully someone sends an email before Mark decides to go on Facebook.
That'll never happen.
Because Mark is perpetually going to live in the 20 teens when we're all in the 2020s. You can find me, Judge James, at I Live for Crits, the number 4, or livingforcrits.com, or on Facebook. And you can find me on Google Plus if you want to, but I probably won't talk to you over there. Forrest?
You can find me on Twitter at ForrestAguirre, ForrestAguirre, and my blog is forrestaguirre.blogspot.com, or, as mentioned earlier, you could email me and the others at glowburnpodcast@gmail.com. Could.
John?
Judge Jonathan, how can we find you?
Sure. Tuesday Night Fiend Club is the home for everything Starcrawl and Vehicle Mayhem. You can find links to purchasing both books as well as additional info, supplement, and resources for the games. And I do another podcast, Marveling at Marvel's Marvels, where we talk about Marvel superheroes. We do reviews of movies, and the premise is one of my friends had never read a comic book before, and so we started introducing characters to him, and for the most part, he hates them. He is not a comic book fan, so it's pretty good fun. We do it with the two of us and the host of the Werewolf Ambulance podcast, so it's a good crew there. It's a good time.
Nice.
Special thanks go out to our shaman of intros, outros, and bumpers, Bob the Voice Brinkman, to our patron AI of audio-visual engineering, Hector the Missile Cruz, and our creative advisors, which is our Google Plus community, currently 381 or XXX strong. Our intro-outro song is by the group Chronox on the album Voyager. The song is Juno. And as we go out of here, Jonathan, what would you like to say?
Keep on star crawling.
So say we all.
Meow, 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 meow.
All right, how long until Gary Con again? Was it 2 months? 2 months? 3 months?
I ain't gonna be there. I don't know.
Oh, you're bad. All right, folks. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Ariel, Ookla, ride!
Blood of your enemy makes you stronger.
This has been a Hectophonic production. The gun is good, the gun is good, the gun is good, the gun is good, the gun is good. Meow 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 meow.